Every year, I add more perennials to my garden, which means more food with less effort and expense. I'm going to show you 25 edible perennials that you'll actually want to eat. The best part? Most perennials have minimal upkeep, usually only seasonal pruning and amending with compost. I'm Angela from Growing in the Garden. My garden is in Mesa, Arizona, Zone 9B. I love sharing garden inspiration and helpful tips so you can be successful in your garden too. Where I live, there's hot summers and mild winters, and the challenge is finding crops that will survive our hot summers. I garden on about 5,000 square feet, or just over 1/10 of an acre. Of course, I have lots of fruit trees and herbs growing, but that's not what we're talking about today. A perennial is a plant that lives out its life cycle over 3 years or more. It will survive both winter and summer, and you harvest in a way that doesn't kill the plant. An artichoke plant can live about 5 years, and during that time, it's going to grow large, produce lots of artichokes, and then be cut back at the beginning of each summer. And when it starts to cool off again in the fall, they start growing again. Asparagus lives for about 10 years. You plant it once and the stalks get larger and larger each year. You harvest asparagus in the spring, and then the rest of the year it looks like this. All the energy is going back into the roots for next spring's harvest. Strawberries live for about 3 or 4 years. Pick a shady spot in your garden so they don't burn up over the summer, and then you'll have strawberries for several years. Turmeric is sensitive to frost, but because the ground doesn't freeze here, I can leave turmeric growing year-round. When I need some turmeric, I dig down, get what I need, and let the remaining turmeric keep growing. Ginger is very similar to turmeric. Because our ground doesn't freeze, I leave mine in the garden beds and harvest what I need right when I need it. Blackberries love the heat and grow well in our hot climate. The best time to plant is in the spring or the fall. Grapes can grow in full sun. Pick a spot with rich soil, learn how to train and prune, and you'll have grapes for years. Peppers are often grown as an annual in cooler climates, but here in the low desert, they survive for years as long as you cover them if we get a frost. Production is best for the first 3 to 4 years. At that point, you might want to replace your plants. Chiltepine is a wild pepper native to the United States and the mother of all peppers. These are tough plants that can survive harsh conditions and grow large, so I like to grow them in native soil outside of my beds. Sweet potatoes are a crop that I grow as a perennial. When I harvest, I make sure to leave a little bit in the ground and they come back year after year. They make an excellent cover crop. I love growing them in my in-ground areas so those trailing vines can cover the soil. Goji berries are delicious. The plants reach peak production at about 2 years and will last for 3 to 5 years. Indeterminate tomatoes can live for years here in the low desert. Keep them healthy, give them something to climb, and cover them if it freezes. Eggplants are one of the easiest crops to grow in the low desert. Plant in the spring or with the monsoons, protect from freezing temperatures, and you'll get eggplants for 2 or 3 years. Chichicolite is often called garden huckleberry. This is a tough plant that grows really large and will produce berries for 2 to 3 years. Potatoes. If you grow them in a raised bed, it's hard to get all of them, and you often have new potatoes forming. I use that to my advantage and keep the potatoes going year after year. Longevity spinach is a simple crop to grow, and it grows well in shade. It tolerates neglect and gives you greens almost year-round. Malabar spinach is a perennial vine that grows up to 30 feet. It thrives in the heat and loves to climb. Give it something to climb, protect it during a frost, and you'll have greens all summer long. Caper plants love the heat, do best in the ground, and grow large. They'll live for many years. Mexican elderberry is a type of elderberry that grows well here. I like to train mine to grow like a bush. Sugarcane grows very well here in the low desert. I've had this patch here for years. The canes grow nice and tall. After harvesting, it comes back year after year. Garlic chives last forever in your garden. Believe it or not, this plant is over 10 years old. It's so simple to grow, loves the heat, and you divide it every few years and get even more plants. Everyone should grow garlic chives in their garden. Itoy onions are a multiplying onion that thrives in our harsh desert conditions. You can harvest them or leave them in the ground and they'll sprout again year after year. Pigeon pea is a perennial legume shrub that grows large. Plants live from 1 to 5 years and produce that whole time. Moringa. This plant looks little now, but it won't be for long. They grow very large. I like to keep them cut back so it's more like a bush. It thrives in hot, arid regions and all parts are edible. Passion fruit vine is a vigorous vine that will last 3 to 4 years and produce delicious fruit in the spring and the fall. Jerusalem artichoke, also known as sunchoke, produces edible tubers. When you harvest, it's easy to miss them, so whether you want to or not, they're going to come back year after year. Cucamelon is a tender perennial that can live for several seasons. As it grows, cucamelon produces an underground tuber. Protect the vines from frost and it will come back year after year. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if there's some perennials I missed.